There was a time in my life I thought I'd have to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, got to let it go, let it all go. And this is what you got to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. One more time. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Welcome, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning, Commodore.
David Duvall. Have we got any new people here today? First timers? Mary.
Yeah, happy birthday. Not to Unity, but to,
Oh, have you gotten your heart yet?
yeah, I have my heart.
Perfect. It says, ask the musician to lead the congregation in the heart song.
All right. Well, then that's what we shall do. It's a song I've been playing for about 45 years now.
Couple of days.
I'm sure you're pretty much familiar with it. Please join me. Day by day, day by day. Oh dear Lord, three things I pray: to see you more clearly, love you more deeply.
wife, Debbie Lee, is the board member of the week and the usher. Our chaplain is Nora. So at the end of the service, for those of you who need prayers, she will be over by the windows and she will assist you. Our youth ed champion is Cindy, and our hostess today is Mary Ellen, and we're all angels for the spick and span and keeping it clean. So if you're new today at Unity of Bremerton, we welcome you in the spirit of love. We want you to know, no matter where you are on your journey of faith, you are always welcome here. We know that the world is a better place when we are willing to share our hearts. We give you this heart as a symbol of the steadfast spirit that lives within each of us, and we ask you to carry this symbol as a member of the Red Heart Fellowship. Let it be a reminder that the love of God is always with you and to share your heart wherever you go. The red heart, as a symbol of fellowship in the world, can spread love one heart at a time. Let's start that movement here. And Mary's our newest member in the Red Heart. Okay, we have a few happenings, Unity happenings going. The 21st, we have the New Moon Circles with the Spiritual Star Talks. It is an RSVP, so be sure and let them know you're coming. On the 25th of August, we have a family fun night from 6 to 9. And next Sunday, we have Aloha Sunday. So join us for a Hawaiian-style talk and potluck. So, and then on the 2nd of September, Carmel Pennington and Mercedes Nicole will be here.
Woohoo, good.
On the 9th, we have Gail Gray and Carol Glenn. And on the 16th, Reverend Sherry Schultz and Michael Gregory. And don't forget, you got the Course in Miracles on Thursday from 7 to 8. Bring your love offering. Okay, so now we have our board member of the week, Debbie Lee.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Hi.
How are you? I missed you. We've been out
We missed you.
gallivanting. Oh, feels weird that summer almost feels like it's kind of closing in a little bit with Labor Day right around the corner. But hope you guys are all having a great summer. We want to remind you that we are live streaming our service, so we ask that you please keep your conversations down because it is being picked up, especially during the candle lighting and the paper burning. Also, please be sure your cell phones are off or on vibrate. We also want to remind everyone that prayer request forms are available in your seat pockets on the back, and you can put them in the prayer box, and or you can put them in the offertory bags when they come around. And then again, the chaplains are available to pray with you after service on Sundays. Unity of North Kitsap has a weekly meditation Thursday, August 23rd at 7 p.m. Is the next one. Receiving Divine Guidance Meditation Gathering is the title. Open yourself to your own peaceful divine guidance and bask in the energy of group meditation. Linda Mooring will share a guided meditation by Sonia Choquette and also lead a silent meditation. Meditations are held in the Fellowship Hall at Faith Episcopal in Paulsbo. Our craft bazaar is set for Saturday, November 17th. For those who have signed up, please start thinking about what you're going to share and create for your own little booth. If you haven't already signed up, please do so. There is a sign-up sheet in the fellowship area. And while you're out there, please check up on all the other sign-up sheets that we have for events coming up. There are a variety of activities going on each month. Stay tuned for more events as we ease into the fall months. And if you want to stay up to date with our activities, please be sure to sign up for our weekly e-blast newsletter. You can sign up for this on our website, and you can also use the sign-up sheet in the fellowship area. Minette Fest. Who's been to Minette Fest before? So it's coming up on September 8th, and our very own Joe he lives right there in Manette, and he's offering his front yard for us to have a yard sale and take advantage of all that foot traffic and all that's going on. So aside from all the activities for Manette Fest, if you want to donate items for us to sell, we can keep the proceeds, or you can donate them to the church, which we're kind of hoping you will. If you have items you would like to sell, you will be there to sell them when, excuse me just a moment, this didn't read quite smoothly. If you have items you would like to sell and you will be there to sell them, then we ask for a percentage to be donated to Unity. Sign up if you're interested, and you will be able to talk to Joe personally to coordinate. So as always, if you have any suggestions, questions, or concerns, please ask a board member. Thank you.
This candle represents the divine light within each of us. Now we'll read the mission statement.
We are a welcoming community supporting our mutual quest for spiritual truth.
And our invocation.
There is one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotence.
This is the part everybody likes, because we get to see our neighbors and give them a hug. But hug careful, please. No breaking.
Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks
forgive others, I am centered in peace. When Jesus taught his disciples the importance of forgiveness, he was not just speaking of a moral imperative, but of a practical spiritual guide. When I hold on to anger and judgment and blame and resentment towards others, I am weighting down my own consciousness and blocking the free flow of divine energy within and through me. As I choose to forgive, I dissolve blockage within. Certainly, my choice for forgiveness will have a positive impact on those I forgive, whether they are consciously aware of it or not. And I am powerless over others' choices. I am simply left with the opportunity to feel lighter and more loving as I forgive. Truly, as I forgive others, I am centered in peace. From Matthew 18, verse 22, Jesus said to him, not 7 times, but I tell you, 77 times. As I forgive others, I am centered in peace. And God blesses us all the time.
There's another really good set of words that I need to sing more often to myself, I think. Anybody else have songs like that they need to remind themselves more about? Everything that I need to know about what lies before me. Everything that I need to know about what lies before me is available to me. It's available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything that I need to do about what lies before me. Everything that I need to do about what lies before me is available to me. It's available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything that I need to release about what lies before me. Everything that I need to release about what lies before me is available to me. It's available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything that I need to accept about what lies before me. Everything that I need to accept about what lies before me is available to me. It's available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything that I need to know about what lies before me. Everything that I need to know about what lies before me is available to me. Is available to me through the mind of God within me. The mind of God within me. Through the mind of God within me. Well done. I love this song. I really wish I'd written it. The secret of life is enjoying the passage of time. Any fool can do it. There ain't nothing to it. Nobody knows how we got to the top of the hill. But since we're on our way down, we might as well enjoy the ride. The secret of love is opening up your heart. don't let that stand in your way, 'cause everyone knows that love is the only road. Since we're only here for a while, we might as well show some style. Give us a smile, isn't it a lovely ride? Keep sliding down, gliding down. Try not to try too hard, it's just a lovely ride. The thing about time isn't really real. It's just your point of view. How does it feel for you? Even Einstein said he could never understand it all. There's planets spinning through space, and there's smiles upon your face. You've got one. Welcome to the human race, some kind of lovely ride. I'll keep gliding down, keep sliding down. Try not to try too hard, it's just a lovely ride. Isn't it a lovely ride? Keep sliding down and gliding down. And since we're only here for a while, we might as well show some style. Try not to try too hard, it's just a lovely ride. It's still there somewhere. The secret of life is enjoying the passage of time. And sometimes technology has its own mind.
And now we have our delightful and loving Reverend Joanna Gabriel. Back down for you.
Good morning. It's so good to be with you. And it's especially good to be with you because this time last weekend, I was in Montana. Helena, Montana. Has anybody been to Helena?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, I'll tell you, there's not a lot going on there. Nice people. And I'd never been there before. I went there because I was asked to do a scattering of ashes ceremony in the area. And so I flew in and I got off the plane and came in, and it's a little airport. It's nice, but it's very small. There's just one gate. So I went in and of course raced immediately to the restroom, and while I was in there I heard them announcing, getting ready for the people to get on the plane to go back to Seattle. And the guy at the gate, he's going, you know how they do the active military and the folks that need extra time to board and all of that.
Yeah.
And then he goes, Group A and all of that. And so finally he goes, will somebody please get on the plane? Everybody starts laughing. Well, now I never heard that before. I never heard that at SeaTac. I guess there weren't any takers for the first option, so. Yeah, will someone please get on the plane? So this place where I went to scatter the ashes was quite beautiful. It was at 7,500 feet. It took us 2 hours to get there. And then when we came after the ceremony, we came down and went to the family's pig farm in Toston, which is still at 4,500 feet. and it was a toasty 102 degrees. And you know, we Pacific Northwest people are heat wimps. And we don't mind admitting it, do we? Well, I'm sitting there. And I did pray or something, but it was really hot, and there wasn't any breeze. There wasn't breeze. There wasn't, no leaves on the trees were moving. And then these dear people were roasting pork loin.
Oh my goodness.
And they took me over to meet the new piggies. They had 3 litters of pigs, and they were so cute. And they held one up, and I thought, you know, there's something a little weird about this, where I'm enjoying this baby pig while I'm smelling his ancestors roasting. There was something about that was just kind of weird. So I just blessed the whole thing. And anyway, it was, as I said, it was really hot. And I'm sitting there, and I made a sad mistake. As I'm sitting there whining and carrying on about how hot it is, I wonder what it is in Langley, where I live. So I looked on my phone, and it said it was 67 and rainy. Oh, well, if my body could have made tears, I would have cried, except it was only 14% humidity, so I couldn't make tears. Oh my goodness sake. So I want you to know that I'm always glad to come and see all of you, but I'm really enjoying, I'll never complain about the 80s ever again. I won't. And if I do, you let me have it, because it's nothing. It is nothing. So. Well, it's sure glad to be back home. Very wonderful people there. Just very sweet and kind and genuine. I really enjoyed meeting people. I didn't kiss the ground when I got off the plane in Seattle, but I almost did. Just want you to know. So anyway, what in the world is Swiss cheese spirituality? Did you see that? Did you wonder, oh gosh, what is she up to now? Yep. Yeah, well, I didn't know what else to call it, because what I'm talking about is spirituality thinking that has holes in it. And that if you let it sit there for a while, it gets kind of smelly. So didn't Swiss cheese spirituality seem about right? Right. Yeah, I thought so too. Well, what I'm talking about when I say Swiss cheese spirituality means that there are ideas or concepts among spirituality that, given their face value or not delved into a little bit, can be kind of hard to accept and certainly kind of hard to put into practice. And if we don't understand, and can it also, in fact, take us in the opposite direction of where we want to go. So does it seem like it makes sense to maybe take a little time to look at that? I was thinking that. In fact, I was thinking about this when I was on the plane. Anyway, I'll give you some examples of what I mean. Like, for example, remember back in the day, I guess this would have been the 80s. Most of us, do any of you remember the 80s?
Oh dear.
Yes. Yes. Well, remember the I'm okay, you're okay? Yeah. Remember all that? And there was the sense that it was, I'm okay, you're okay, and I'm doing my thing, and you're doing your thing, and we don't need to worry about anything, and I can just do or say whatever I want because I'm okay, you're okay, which means I don't have any more responsibility. Did you run into any people like that thought they'd been given permission to just kind of do whatever? Yeah. Yeah. And what we realize is, as we open up and grow in consciousness, is that when we evolve and grow and become aware and understand that we're all part of the one, that we actually have more responsibility, not less. Do you get what I mean? That we understand that what we do to another, we're doing to whom? Ourselves. What we're holding as true about another, we're holding as true about ourselves. When you look at our world, especially in present day, doesn't that kind of explain a lot? because it seems like judgment is rampant. That we seem to have been given permission to just say and do whatever we want. And if it offends somebody, so what? And how does that feel? Ooh, ick. Right? When you hear it or observe it, how does it feel to you? Icky, doesn't it? Yeah, because it's not the truth of who we are. And we understand that as we open up and become more conscious to the truth of who we are as love, as light, as one. From that place, the last thing we would be doing is judging or condemning or putting down another, or belittling or cutting off the air supply of another. Right? And so that's why, as we see it in this world, the good news is, there were times when this was all rampant in our world and we didn't even notice. But now we do, because we're evolving, we're growing, we're opening up, we're becoming more of who we are. So we turn around and look at that and go, that's not okay with me. That is not okay. There was a time where we wouldn't have even noticed it. Do you see the difference? And do you see how important that is? I'm okay, you're okay. Yes, indeed, that's true. And what that says is, and my awareness of that, my acceptance of that, means that I have more and more responsibility to be loving and kind, both to you and myself. And as I grow, I become more and more aware that in order to be kind and loving to you, I have to first be kind and loving to me, because I don't really know what it is until I do that. Now, does that explain a lot about our world? Yeah. Because most of us walk around self-loathing, self-hating, self-criticizing, and that's my favorite topic. Because we can't move forward until we are forgiving and loving and accepting ourselves. And when we try to love another from self-loathing, I promise you there's holes in it. I promise you. And if you're having trouble loving or forgiving or being present with another, it's common for us to look over there and want to make them wrong. But the truth is, it's not that we're wrong. It's that we're trying to do it from a place where we haven't accepted ourselves, where we haven't forgiven ourselves. And so the love we offer another is suspect. Questions or comments about that? That's so important. We got to get that one. Anybody? Yes, dear host.
How do you find the balance between that and protecting America
Protecting America.
from the president?
Well, my dear, we can't talk about that directly from here in those terms, because you're 501(c)(3), so we can't talk about that directly, but we certainly can talk about the concept, which is how do we heal ourselves and support the healing in one another in the midst of all this? And the answer is right in what we were just talking about. Is we have to love and forgive and accept ourselves first, Lois. That's the big problem, is we're trying to do country We're trying to do world. We're sitting up in a place of authority, making decisions about everything and everybody from a place of self-loathing. And that's how we can hurt people the way we do. That's how we can criticize and judge and hurt and deny the way we do, the way people do. That which you mentioned is one people who have behavior or express behavior that is bullying or negative or judgmental or put down and all of that is normally or usually or most often or maybe always someone who feels about this tall inside. Maybe this tall. And so what they do to keep that defended and protected, not forgive and love oneself, no. But get out there and be throwing the blows and being negative, and it's almost like, what is it, a good defense is the best offense, or is it the best offense is a good defense? I know I'm messing that football analogy up, but forgive me. You know what I'm trying to say. To be out there pushing against, to keep everything and everyone away from my awareness that I'm this big. And see, that's a perfect example of why it is that we need to do the self-healing. Because the only way to clean that up is to come back inside and forgive and accept and allow and love and embrace and heal this one so that it can be allowed to be who it truly is, which is as valuable as all the rest of us. And when we do that, Lois, when we're willing to do that inside ourselves, how we show up with the rest of the world and those around us changes. It has to. Because our world is a reflection of what we believe is true inside. And so if we operate from belief structure that says everyone is our enemy, everyone is to be defended and protected against, you can't trust anybody, those beliefs come from that little one inside. Because from that perspective, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Doesn't it? It really makes a lot of sense. But if we allow it and free it to be who it truly is, it doesn't have that need anymore to operate from that place of defense, of make wrong. Questions or comments about that? Does that help at all?
Oh,
Yeah.
What you spoke earlier about, I'm okay and you're okay. The flip side, or for the person, when we feel, I'm not okay, well, you're not okay either, so there. And that's what I'm seeing.
Indeed.
And that's that playground behavior.
Perfect example.
Yeah. So, I mean, it works both ways.
Yes, it does. And it isn't until we can heal that part, the side and part of us that doesn't feel okay.
Yeah.
That takes off those blinders that causes us to see everybody else is not okay. Because that's all you can see. Maureen.
Well, lots of times when people bully or put other people down, it makes them feel powerful.
Yeah.
Some,
Part of this.
It makes
yes.
them feel like they're in charge, and that boosts their false ego.
And exactly, it makes them feel a sense of powerfulness or power. However, it's hollow and empty, so they keep doing it because there's never enough. Because that isn't where they will find their power, is it? But they keep doing it, and it gets bigger and louder and messier because it's never enough. Because that's not where the power is. Good point. Yeah. Any more questions or comments? Yes, Nora.
When Marilyn was reading Daily Word and forgiveness, it just kind of hit home because as a rule, I'm good about forgiving myself, but sometimes struggle with forgiving others. With this fall, that I've taken, just struggling with forgiving myself for being in that, putting myself in that situation when I knew better, and so it's just that sort of, wow, you have to look at saying, okay, so you made a mistake, and that's a struggle.
Yes.
Letting go of that.
Yes. And we hold that all with you because it's possible, I don't know, but it's possible one of the things that one could get out of an experience like you've had is all the people around that love you and want to support you and help you.
Oh, yeah.
And give you a helping hand.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I've had a lot of that.
And see, when you're somebody who's self-sufficient and knows how to get things done and does it and has been through a lot like you have, you want to keep doing that. And and so the fall can feel like it's the opposite of that, or an attack on that self-sufficiency, when maybe what it's really telling you is you're not alone.
Slow down.
Slow down. You're not alone. There's help for you. There's support for you. You don't have to do it all alone. You're not doing it all alone. We're never doing it all alone, even when we think we are. Right? And sometimes these things that happen cause us, or sometimes force us, to become aware of that. In fact, when you look back at it, maybe when we have you give the talk in a few months, you'll stand up here and say, wow, it took that fall for me to begin to understand how supported I am. Thank you. So another one of these Swiss cheese things is the idea of what the power or what the purpose of meditation is. There are a lot of folks that believe that all you got to do is meditate. Just meditate, that's all you got to do. If you meditate, that's it. And believe me, I'm standing up here attesting to the power of meditation, because meditation is really important. And in fact, in Unity, it's part of what we believe is practicing the presence. Meditation is part of that. It's a very important part of that. We teach meditation in Unity. Not saying that meditation isn't important. But what I am saying is there are folks who have come to think that meditation is all that is necessary in life. That we can solve our problems by just meditating. Have you noticed maybe not so much? Yeah, that's not the whole story. Meditation, as I said, vitally important. But the thing about meditation is sitting and listening to the presence, God, divine essence, whatever you name that presence, is really important. It is. That's step one. Step two is bringing that peace, bringing that awareness, bringing that insight, bringing that whatever it was that you got while you were sitting there. Maybe it was nothing, just feeling peaceful. Yay! Success. But bringing that feeling back with you into your life. If you are, excuse me, in grief, mourning something, or there's an issue that you're dealing with, meditation can be really useful. But don't let it be the thing that isolates you from the answer, or the moving through and integrating what you got into your life, making the changes that come forth from that self-reflection. Again, a lot of people will sit in meditation and listen and feel that it's about listening to God, and don't get that it's about your part of that listening to God. The inspiration is coming to you for you to use in your own life. Do you see? That's another step. And many of us don't take it or don't get that that's the next step. That just think we just have to sit there. And what I'm telling you is that we can't be on the mountaintop 24 hours a day. Not in this life unless you've committed yourself to being a monk. If you haven't, doesn't mean you can't still pray and meditate. But the whole deal is taking what you get, what you receive, and bring it down off the mountaintop into the valley, which is your everyday life. These two things are not separate. That's what the earth experience is all about. Marrying heaven and earth. You are the marriage of heaven and earth. You are that a grand, grand expression of God in the physical. There's no separation. Questions or comments about that?
I think often about the verb be, and that's the meditation part, to be, to bring it in. But you've got to do a little do. Put foot powder, foot muscle, put step on it, do, put it out there, put a muscle to it. And then I think of Sinatra and the doobie-doobie-doo, but it's, but there's got to be doing with the being.
Doing from being.
Right.
That's the thing,
Get your
yes.
be and then do something.
Doing from being. That we understand as conscious beings, we understand that that being part is essential. And that our doing comes from that being, what we get, what we connect with, what's true about us. In Conversations with God, it talks about the be, do, have paradigm. That it's being the truth of us, doing from that awareness, and then having what it is that gets created out of that marriage. It tends to be in our culture that it's the having part first. I'm not happy until I have such and such. We have to have, and trying to do it flipped. And that's why many of us are unhappy, depressed, and all that, because our culture keeps telling us that you're not successful until you have this. And what our consciousness tells us is that we have to be happy first and express from that happiness. And that's when we create our joy. Does that make sense? Do you get that? Do you see the difference? It's a huge difference.
Something that has always just struck me wrong. And yesterday I was hearing a service that was very orthodox and kept emphasizing the only begotten Son of God. The only begotten Son of God. And every time I hear that, it kind of, because we know that we're all. And you were just talking about how, yes, we're all, sons and daughters. We're all part of the sonship, however you want to look at that. How do you address that with that orthodox, the only begotten Son of God? We are one.
We are. You never heard Jesus say that.
I know.
Jesus was always talking about who we are. That what I am, you are. What I am, you are. Me, you. Same difference. The only, if there's a difference, is that I've claimed it.
Yeah.
And you claim it, and you're the same. In fact, you can be more than that. You can be more than I am, because we're all in this together. So we keep growing and keep evolving, so it can be more and more. What do you do about it? It's not something about we're going to go in there and tell them you're wrong. Does that work? No. And most of us have come through a process where at some point that's what we were holding as true, right? It's a process, isn't it? It's a process. Because eventually, see, you've moved through a process, so you look at that and go, oh, that's not, no, that's not true. But there may have been a time in this lifetime, or maybe a previous one, where that made sense to you. So it's not about making anybody wrong. It's just that that's where the process is there at this point in time. And it will evolve because it's who we truly are. Jesus never said that.
He never said I'm the only one.
No. And that's why, and I've said this to you before, in many religions, they don't teach what Jesus said. They teach what Paul said. And they teach what the prophets said. Because those guys, I don't mean any disrespect, Paul, at all. But what I'm saying is that they were more freely, easily talking about the smallness, the limitedness. Jesus didn't talk about that. And so for many folks, what Jesus said doesn't fit their theology. And this is what I mean when I say that we can't be on the mountaintop 24 hours a day. Because if it was about being on the mountaintop, the master teachers would have never graced our presence here on earth. Why would they have come here? Hello? Do you get that? Why would they have come? It's about the marriage of the two. It's about bringing the truth of the divine into our world. Because when we do, that is paradise. We've got it all. Because my understanding is there's no sugar in heaven.
You don't need it.
No pasta, no sugar, no nothing. So to marry the two, the divine and pasta, well, my God, is that not paradise? The beauty of this physical world, life in the physical is beautiful. It's worth coming here. And it's worth bringing the truth of us, so that we can have it all. And that's the point. Questions or comments about that?
And let go of that more fundamental approach is that I'm a miserable sinner. I'm a sinner. No. I am God's beloved. We are God's beloved. God sees us as God created us.
Absolutely. And you know, if you've done any of the metaphysical Bible study, or if you've been back to Unity Village and you've taken classes, or you've done a lot of reading, you know that back in the early days, the church had meetings and took a whole lot of what was in the Bible out. Do you know that?
Oh, yeah.
There have been over 16 different editing sessions on the Bible. And in fact, if you go through it, there are actually some sentences that are cut off in the middle. They aren't even complete because they've been removed. Why? Because it's been taken out, not all, but a lot of the wording that talked about our power, of who we truly are as God in expression. But you see, if we knew that about ourselves, what would we need the church for? Do you understand this?
Oh, yeah.
And so, we as conscious beings evolve back into the truth of us. It isn't about making anybody wrong. We understand what happened. That's all. And we move forward from here. And because we are all one, as we move forward, the whole is lifted up. It has to be. So let's just get comfortable and close our eyes. It's starting to get warmer. It's not going to be 102, I'm pretty sure. But we could talk about this a long time. I'll be back. Let's get comfortable, and if it feels okay, close your eyes and just be present in this moment of now. There's still a nice breeze. Let's feel the breeze and the radiance of this beautiful August morning. Let's be present on this summer day. Oh, the gifts of August. the garden is coming full. The dahlias, oh my goodness, the dahlias. The sky. The fawns and the baby ducks. There is so much in this life that blesses us, that feeds us, that brings us joy. Let us see and feel with the eyes and heart of conscious awareness that it's all part of it. And that if we're having trouble with something, we look inside first to forgive, to hold, to embrace, to understand, to begin again. And then we look at the reflections out there, for they will have felt the shift we've had inside. They have to, because we're all one. And so we breathe and allow the truth of us to rise up and embrace us, to strengthen us. And from this place of strength, we bring to mind someone who we know could use this reminder right now, that whatever's going on for them, oh, their faith, it may be tough right now because the circumstances are really shaking them. So we hold them in this embrace of love and light, of strength, of forgiveness, of beginning again. We hold them in the marriage of heaven and earth, knowing that as we do, all things are possible. If there's someone you want to particularly hold in this embrace, feel free to say their name aloud now so we can hold them with you.
Oh, Candy. And
And in this precious embrace, we hold our country, our leaders, our world, the leadership of the world. That they are all self-aware, self-engaged, self-forgiving, self-accepting. And in this, we begin again. In divine order, in divine light, in divine love. And in this place, all life is lifted up. And for this reminder, we are grateful. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.
choosing music today was somewhat of a challenge because I wasn't sure where to go with it. And when this song title, when my eyes went across this song title on my list of things in my repertoire, my whole body went off. And I thought, I don't know that this is going to make sense, but now having heard the talk, it makes perfect sense. So, but I also now need to explain a few things so that you follow how it makes perfect sense. It is my favorite psalm. It's Psalm 100, written by my namesake, King David, back in the day. And he was writing it from the perspective of wisdom that they had at the time. So we have to allow for, as we often do in life with other people, bringing up your point, sometimes we need to remember what people mean versus what they actually say, because words can have several different meanings. And also, I found it really helpful to remember that people of different theological concepts than mine, for the most part, need those concepts for them to be at peace. And when we all can agree that the thoughts, the prayers are all ending up going to the same location, we don't need to argue so much about the minutia, because the minutia is strictly just minutia. So as David is writing this, he is talking to a God that he understands as a primarily male entity who's in charge of things. That's it. That's how he perceives it. I based my song off of the translation that my friend Eugene Peterson did in the Message Bible, which is from the earliest notations of the Psalms that they have, because Eugene's rather remarkably brilliant at translating both Latin and Greek. And so when you hear me use the word God, and sometimes he, because it's difficult to give a non-gendered entity a noun that doesn't, because it just doesn't sound personal. Do you know what I mean? I've sung it with she, I've sung it with he, and I'll try to do both today. But take God, as the word comes up several times in here, and put it in the context of the big whatever you have out there that we are all connected to, so that God is not a single entity, it's the collection of us and all that moves. Am I making sense? Great. Because I've had people argue with me over the minutia, and I said, no, you're missing the point. Because it's really quite a grand collection of philosophical thoughts that David had 4,000 or 5,000 years ago. I look up to the mountains. Does my strength come from the mountains? No, it comes from God, the God who made the mountains. I look up into heaven. Does my strength come from heaven? No, it comes from God, the God who made the heavens. God won't let you stumble. Guardian God, don't sleep. Israel's God is with you, come what may. He's right there to protect you from danger day and night. God guard you now. God guard you always. To the ocean. Does my strength come from the ocean? No, it comes from God, the God who made the ocean. I look around the earth. Does my strength come from the earth? No, it comes from God, the God who made all things. God guard you from evil, and she guards your very soul. Israel's God is with you, come what may. She guards you when you're sleeping, and he guards your safe return. God guard you now. God guards you always. So God guides you now, God guides you always.
As you're preparing your tithes and love offerings today, think about how blessed you are. And as you're writing your check or giving your gift, send out your blessing. And after the tithing, please light a candle or shed a hate.
I am so grateful for all that I have.
I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am blessed.
I give willingly, joyfully, and lovingly, knowing that God is the constant source of my supply. I give with graciousness and receive with gratitude. So who has good news? No more. We got this baby wrapped up. Who's the good news person today?
All right, Saturday night, family fun night. We got Bunko. Let's play.
Yes,
Come on.
Wonderful. That's nice.
This is.
Really nice.
Are we there? No.
He needs your mic. Just give it to him, Ron.
Just gonna say, whoa, oh, echo, great. Not necessarily good news, but hold in positive consciousness. Next Sunday, I am in Redding, California, and they're still in a world of hurt. I'm gonna try to do my best to brighten their community. And the week after that, I'm in Chico, California, and they're a little less painful, but it's still icky-ish down there. So you want to just send with me your well wishes for those communities before I get back here. That would be great, because I want to do what I can to ease them.
This is just about my great-granddaughter. Most of you know that I just had one. She's 6 months old. And so now she's beginning to really know who you are. And it's just such a joy to just look at her. She's got big brown eyes, just great big brown eyes. And you talk to her, and she's almost talking back, you know. So I'm going over today. She lives in Port Orchard, and I live in Silverdale, so I don't see her all the time, but I try.
And she's a daddy's girl. I've seen her on Facebook. She's a beauty. What? She's a beauty. She's beautiful.
We had something really neat happen to us. We were swamped with weeds, and neither one of us could get out and do anything about our yard. We were really feeling down about it. And Catholic Community Services sent someone who is not supposed to do this, so don't tell anybody. But he went out and weeded the whole yard and put down mulch.
Aww.
And our yard now looks wonderful, and I think that's very good news, because we were both feeling really bad about it. It's been a hard road for George and I. to watch out for each other, and I'm just thankful for that.
That reminds me of the Red Heart, that I live in a seniors place, and so anyway, the aid truck had come and was taking this gal that lives there, and so while they were putting her in it all at once, I had this idea, and I ran up and I had one of the red hearts on my altar, and I came down and I squeezed that in her hand, that we were all with her, and just to see the difference in her face and what that meant. So you never know how just a simple something that you can do can really make a difference in someone's life.
I don't believe we had children today.
Not today.
Okay. We're gonna have a chaplain by the window, right over there, right afterwards. Come pray. So all rise, join hands. And that's the truth.